Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. They had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Ever since His Majesty the Godly King left Wui Tower, their sole purpose had been to find that peerless talent, which was more important than their own lives. It disappeared. The sealing task disappeared. The sealing task of law masters have disappeared. He succeeded. That soldier Milky Way must have reached the top of Wui Tower. The four leaders in the palace were watching carefully at every moment. They could see the tasks in the four armies and Godly King Valley, but after Luo Fong entered the 8th floor of Wui Tower, they didn't know what had happened. However, Luo Fong had been in there for a long time without coming out. Their expectations were aflame. They were all staring at the task list, and they all cried out at once. The four beings disappeared from the palace and arrived at the ground floor of Wui Tower. Some of the true god guards around Wui Tower were startled. It was quite rare for all the leaders to come out all together. The leaders. It's the leaders. All four leaders are here. The four leaders were looking at the front door of Wui Tower. Why he hasn't come out? He should have come out now. The four leaders were transmitting their voices and waiting eagerly. Little did they know was that the task had been rescinded when Luo Fong finished the 8th floor, and Luo Fong was talking with His Majesty the Godly King on the 9th floor. After a long time, the towering door was opened, and a soldier walked out. He has walked out. In the endless time after Wui Tower was created, the soldiers who survived were all transported out, and no one walked out of the front door. Besides, all the other soldiers were transported out a long time ago, yet this one stayed inside for a long time. Did he actually make it to the top? The four leaders are greeting him. He must have succeeded. The true god guards had seen many soldiers go inside before, so they also knew something about Wui Tower. They were indeed shocked. Luo Fong saw four beings when he came out. A cloud of black mist, a towering male being, a silver-armored female being, and a strange beast great being. Four of them stood shoulder to shoulder and looked at him, elated. Luo Fong looked at those four, but he didn't know what to say. He didn't know any of them. We are the four leaders of Godly King Valley. We've been guarding Godly King Valley under the order of His Majesty the Godly King, the voice of the towering leader rumbled. Also, we've been waiting for a peerless talent who can make it to the top of Wui Tower. Milky Way Jin, we're really glad that you were able to succeed. Milky Way Jin, please come inside the palace. Luo Fong nodded. Then he followed the four leaders and walked toward the Silver Palace. The true god guards couldn't hear their conservations. The towering leader glanced at those guards. Say nothing about today. Yes, leader, all the soldiers answered respectfully. On the first floor of the Silver Palace, Luo Fong spoke with the leaders. He was surprised at how excited and enthusiastic they were. They're way too excited, he thought. The cloud of black mist condensed into a blurry human shape. We've been hoping for someone to reach the top of Wui Tower for a long time, it said. We've waited for this moment for an eternity. It has been a great burden on us, and it has been pressuring us for such a long time. Every time we think about this, we just feel so sorry for His Majesty the Godly King. Now that you've succeeded, Milky Way, we can finally enjoy a sense of relief. The silver-armored female leader was sitting there, and there was a tear in her eye. It's been too long, she said. Just wait here a bit, Milky Way. We've informed the four generals that you just made it to the top of Wui Tower, the towering leader explained. The four generals are mighty, so they will be able to arrive here in a very short period of time. Just like us, for an eternity, the four generals have been wondering about the best way to screen and cultivate a peerless genius who could make it to the top of Wui Tower. The four generals will also be excited and happy when they know that you have succeeded. They'll want to meet you. Luo Fong nodded and smiled. I've known about the four generals for a long time. I've always wanted to meet them, but I've never gotten a chance. As a sealed great being, especially someone who got sealed by reaching the top of Wui Tower, he was at the same level as the generals, at least on the surface. Actually, he was superior to the generals and leaders. Just as Luo Fong was talking with the four leaders. Four beings entered the palace. Luo Fong saw two tribal great beings and two strange beast great beings. They were all suppressing their powers, yet Luo Fong still felt pressured by the invisible forces. Milky Way, this is the General Harmonious Snow from the East Army, the towering leader said, introducing him. Harmonious Snow was the gentlest one out of the four generals. He had snowy skin, and there were green patterns beside his ears. He looked elegant in that white armor, and there was a pupil between his eyebrows. He looked elevated and gazed at Luo Fong with all his eyes gleaming. We've been waiting for this moment for too long. We've finally lived up to His Majesty the Godly King. Introduce me now, roared a giant strange beast with 6 faces. All 6 ugly and ferocious faces then smiled at Luo Fong. I'm North. No need to rush. I'll introduce you all one by one. Luo Fong finally realized how keen the generals were. The 4 generals and leaders had been waiting for this moment for an eternity, and their sole purpose was to find a peerless genius that could reach the top of Wui Tower. That purpose trumped their own practicing, even their own lives. They were all excited to find out that Luo Fong had arrived. Milky Way, you can go train yourself, but the world of Jin is enormous. And your power. You might not be entirely safe. I'll arrange some true gods of void space to protect you in secret. Milky Way. The 4 generals kept talking. They literally treated Luo Fong as if he were an invaluable treasure. They feared something bad might happen to this precious commodity. After half a day, Luo Fong left Godly King Valley. The leaders and generals, Luo Fong said. They even wanted to escort me back to the East Army. They treat me like their children, and they're willing to give me anything I want. Luo Fong could feel from the conversation that the generals and leaders were treating him like the inheritor of the Godly King. Back to the East Army. Luo Fong sat in the silver boat and flew away. When Luo Fong finished the Na Yin technique of Lai Yuan technique, both remote ocean body and Mosha body stopped spreading the willpower shock and became conscious. Primal Chaos City leader, True Yang Knight, and others who were concerned about Luo Fong all contacted him. Luo Fong then briefed them on what had happened and made them understand the issue behind that. But of course, Luo Fong couldn't share the big secret. Teacher True Yang has the training guide from the ancient civilization, thought Luo Fong, and has already reached the level of a limit universe knight. He's only one step away from becoming a universe master. I'll have to give him a huge present after he becomes a universe master. True Yang Knight was Luo Fong's teacher, which was why he gave him many resources, so True Yang could improve himself fast. Luo Fong was closest to True Yang out of all his teachers, followed by Primal Chaos City leader, followed by Sitting Mountain Guest. True Yang Knight treated his disciple like family, while Chaos valued Luo Fong because he was a great treasure to humans. As for Sitting Mountain, he had other plans. Of course, all of them were teachers for whom Luo Fong was genuinely grateful. He wanted to pay them back, but Sitting Mountain Guest had never told him anything he needed. True Yang, Big Brother Hong, and Second Brother Thunder God are all still undying, Luo Fong thought. For all these years, I've been fighting for the human race, but I need to care for the Earthlings and my family now. Luo Fong left Godly King Valley and raced toward the East Army. It was a long way to go, and all the while, Luo Fong was studying Wui God. There were 3 levels of Wui God. The first level was superior to Golden Claw God and Bib Bird. As for the 3rd level, it was stronger than many machine-type valuables of true gods of void space, which was why it was the ultimate true god machine. It has taken me almost a day to fully understand how to use this Wui God. A day was almost 10 years in the space of inheritance. Luo Fong wore Wui God, and his entire body looked like a monkey clad in armor, though it still had Luo Fong's face. It turned black, and its tail was slashing. Burn! Burn! Luo Fong immediately burned his body and performed the 2nd volume of Duan Mier at the same time. His energies surged and extended to the entire Wui God. 16 cores of Wui God were transformed at once, and each of the 4 formed an engraving picture. All the engraving pictures combined to form a virtual core inside Wui God. Gleaming golden light filled Wui God. Millions of phantoms of Luo Fong were left in the palace of Boat of Mausoleum. Then they disappeared. It's too powerful. Luo Fong was amazed. With this Wui God, I can give away both Golden Claw God and Bib Bird. With this valuable, those Universe Supreme Masters in Universe Ocean won't be my match even if they can get a machine-type valuable. Luo Fong was confident, but he added in a whisper, Wui God indeed consumes godly power very fast. He was flying swiftly under the second volume of Duan Mie, and combined with driving Wui God, it devoured his godly power. If he was still the same Luo Fong who only had a godly body of 100,000 kilometers, it might have been gone instantly. Fortunately, he had a large enough godly body now, but he still didn't dare to fight for too long. No wonder His Majesty the Godly King told me it consumes lots of power even when he knew I had a giant godly body. Luo Fong sighed. Finally, after 3 months, Luo Fong arrived back at the East Army. Within the military camp of the East Army, where Python River Army was stationed, Luo Fong was leisurely flying in the sky above the lake as he passed by it to head toward his own island. On an island beneath Luo Fong, 2 warriors were in the midst of a conversation when they raised their heads and saw him flew by. Look, it's Milky Way. He is Milky Way. I heard the captains of the 6 troops are all afraid of that Milky Way. Warrior Milky Way had made his way back to the military camp, and news spread rapidly within the 6th troop under the 1st main team of Python River Army. Warrior Milky Way from your 6th troop is back. My friend has heard of his name from way back then and would like to get acquainted with him. He just got back to his own island. A red-faced warrior from the 3rd troop of the 1st main team of Python River Army made a brief tour and soon caught wind of the news that Warrior Milky Way had returned. It was common knowledge that it was impossible for warriors within the military camp to spend all their time only on cultivation. Making friends and sparring with others were also extremely important, especially for warriors from special army troops who were highly reputable. Many great beings would be more than willing to befriend such warriors because warriors of this caliber had high chances of becoming true gods of void space. The red-faced warrior quickly left the military camp of Python River Army and headed for the military grounds of another special army troop. Chang Mu. Chang Mu. The red-faced warrior looked down as he sent out a voice transmission that swept through the vast expanse of forest beneath him. From a huge wooden house constructed entirely of numerous large, sturdy trees, a double-faced, 4-armed man flew out. He was clad in a suit of cyan armor and raised his head to look. The moment he saw his visitor, he smiled and said, "Chu Hua, I was just about to go look for you, and here you are. I just cooked something delicious. Come and try it." Chang Mu. The red-faced warrior dashed down from where he was. "Haven't you been looking for that warrior Milky Way from our Python River Army?" "Yes," the green-armored man replied right away. Then he excitedly asked, "Is he back in camp?" "Yes, he just got back not long ago," the red-faced warrior replied with a smile. The green-armored man revealed his delight. "I have long wanted to meet him, but whatever it is, nothing matters more than eating." "Good, good, good." The red-faced warrior was suddenly filled with anticipation. Universe Ocean, within Purple Moon Holy Land Universe. In the palace hall, Purple Moon Ancestor sat in silence with his eyes closed as though he could just sit there for endless eras. Beneath him, also in cross-legged positions, were various figures that took the form of either other bodies of gods or avatars sustained by godly powers. All of them were universe masters who had entered the world of Jinn. Suddenly, from amongst them, a double-faced, 4-armed man opened his eyes and shot to his feet. "Ancestor," the cyan-clothed man reported with great reverence, "I have received news that Warrior Milky Way just returned to the military camp of the East Army. Right now, he is at Python River Army's military grounds." The moment this was said, the other universe masters around him opened their eyes in shock. "Huh!" Seated above them all, Purple Moon Ancestor opened his eyes. A trace of coldness flashed in his gaze as he looked down at the crowd beneath him. "If that is the case, then we shall all need to start preparing to act together." "Yes, Ancestor." The numerous universe masters beneath all responded positively to his orders. Within the military camp of the East Army in the world of Jinn, the universe masters of Purple Moon Holy Land who had joined the East Army were preparing for action. Within Purple Moon Holy Land Universe, a number of universe masters below started to speak up. "Ancestor, It is confirmed. Luo Fong is indeed in the military grounds of the Python River Army. Ancestor, we are already standing guard by the wormhole transportation point outside the military camp. The moment he comes out, we will all know right away. Ancestor. Very well. Purple Moon Ancestor looked down and nodded with satisfaction. Since this Luo Fong has already entered the military camp of the East Army, if we are to strike, we must make sure this one move will exterminate him. Chang Mu, it's up to you now. Rest assured, Ancestor, Chang Mu Master replied deferentially. Purple Moon Ancestor nodded in silence, but in his heart, he was silently saying, Luo Fong, even if you have the legendary inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River, so what? East Emperor, that old fellow. He is not qualified to vie with me, and you do not stand a chance in a fight against me either. Regardless of how impressive a talent you are, if dead, you are nothing more than useless. World of Jin, military camp of the East Army. In the vast forest found within the land where the Special Army Troop Swan Queen Army was stationed. The red-faced warrior was incredibly carefree as he swayed about in the form of flowing light. This is so delicious. I have never eaten anything so delicious before when I was in the tribe. If I could frequently enjoy such delicious fare, I would prefer to spend half the time I spend on cultivation on eating instead. Chang Mu, the next time you create such a marvelous dish, do remember to call me. That's for sure. Chang Mu Master tilted his head and laughed. After the red-faced warrior left, Chang Mu Master's expression suddenly became quite stern. Are we going to activate the killer trap? Chang Mu Master was feeling an intangible pressure. As a universe master who had made it into a special army troop, Purple Moon Ancestor had handed a heavy responsibility over to him. I have given up every hope for a future in the world of Jin just to see to your death, Luo Fong. And you should be proud of that. Chang Mu Master's heart was filled with resentment. He had long been familiar with the three most dangerous lands of Universe Ocean, but this world of Jin. Since the moment he first entered, he had been completely mesmerized. He truly did not want to leave. However, the moment the deadly trap was activated, he, Chang Mu, would no longer be able to come to the world of Jin again. Let's begin. Chang Mu Master hesitated no further. Transforming into flowing light, he flew out. The vast piece of forest was the military ground of the Swan Queen Army. The Swan Queen Army was divided into two major groups. One consisted of law masters, and the other consisted of true gods. Both sides were completely isolated from one another. Right in the center of the military camp was a towering godly palace. Before the godly palace were a few guards. This godly palace was where the commander of the Swan Queen Army resided. Within the army, those who could assume commander positions of special army troops were all true gods of void space. Outside of the army, they would all have been overlords. There were 6 guards before the godly palace. 2 were true gods, and the other 4 were law masters. Stop. Stop. This is the commander's residence. Trespassing is prohibited. The moment Chang Mu Master descended, he said, I seek an audience with the commander regarding an important matter. Warrior, a true god guard shouted out. You think our commander is someone you can meet so easily? Quickly take your leave. I have something very urgent that needs to be brought to the commander's attention, Chang Mu Master said with great urgency. Seeing how persistent he was, the 2 true god guards could not help but look at one another as they hesitated. After all, this warrior who had come forth was also a fellow warrior of their Swan Queen Army. Let him in, a cold voice resounded. Yes, Commander, replied the 2 true gods standing guard outside the palace. The guards looked toward Chang Mu Master. Enter. Chang Mu Master heaved a sigh of relief and entered the godly palace. The palace seemed to be like a maze. The corridors were full of twists and turns, and there were chambers everywhere. Chang Mu Master could only follow the path as he made his way forward. After a short moment, Chang Mu Master saw a garden. There were countless lovely flowers within the garden, and there was a beautiful lady with 9 feathery tails that were green with a tinge of gold. There were exquisite feathers all over her head, but her face was so striking that it stole Chang Mu Master's breath away instantly. Is she the legendary Swan Queen? Chang Mu Master said to himself. The Swan Queen army had been created by this Swan Queen. To be able to establish a special army troop, one had to be a true god of void space. Over a long period of time, some true gods of void space might break through to become eternal true gods. So naturally, the true god of void space who was next in line would take over their place. However, a breakthrough was too difficult, so the majority of the true gods of void space would usually continue in their positions as commanders. This was how it was like for this Swan Queen. Chang Mu pays his respect to Commander, Chang Mu Master said, bowing deferentially. What matter could be pressing enough for you to come here to see me? Swan Queen's eyes were radiating green light as they gave Chang Mu Master a once-over. If you cannot tell me something that is really pressing, then you shall be dealt with the military way. You will be fed to my children. Chang Mu Master showed no hint of fear. He replied right away, Commander, I have chanced upon a big secret. A big secret. Swan Queen was still speaking in a casual manner. That warrior, Milky Way, from the 6th Troop of Python River Army's main team, Chang Mu Master said in a highly anxious manner. He is actually from another powerful group from the outside world. He has snuck his way into our world of Jinn. After I caught wind of this news, I was afraid that I would be annihilated. Thus, I did not dare to expose the truth. It was only after I returned to camp that I dared to report to Commander about what I found out. The outside world, entering my world of Jinn? Suddenly, there was a surge of murderous intent bursting out from Swan Queen's eyes. Any life form from the world of Jinn would show absolute loyalty to the world of Jinn and pure hostility to life forms from the outside world. Swan Queen stared at Chang Mu Master. Are you sure you are not lying to me? My world of Jinn has not had life forms from the outside world visiting here for a long, long time. I would never dare to lie to Commander. How could I dare to lie about something like that? Swan Queen stared hard at him. You must have evidence. Chang Mu Master started to get flustered. I saw it with my own eyes, but evidence? What evidence could I possibly have? Based on nothing but a casual comment from you, I am supposed to investigate that warrior, Milky Way? Swan Queen retorted coldly. Despite her words, deep in her heart, Swan Queen had her suspicions. Even if this warrior under her command dared to lie to her, he would not tell such a preposterous tale. Who knew? There might have been truth to what he had said. Regardless, she needed to find some time to investigate and verify. Chang Mu Master was very anxious. Commander, I truly saw it with my own eyes. Humph. Swan Queen snorted coldly. I shall spare you of your sin this time around. Take your leave. Chang Mu Master was going crazy as he said through gritted teeth, I saw him with my own eyes. He is a warrior from the outside world. Commander, you just have to execute your hypnotizing methods and make him fall into an illusion. Then naturally, he will tell you everything willingly. If there is anything untrue to what I saw, or he does not admit that he comes from the outside world even when he has fallen into an illusion, then I am willing to die. Illusion? Swan Queen was growing impatient as she said, I don't think I need you to teach me what to do. You may take your leave. Commander, everything I say is the truth. Nothing but the naked truth. If you are kind enough to spare him, you will put our world of Jinn at a great disadvantage. Chang Mu Master was so frantic with anxiety that he started to glare. Whatever I say, I am willing to die to prove the credibility of my word. Suddenly, Chang Mu Master exploded in his entirety. His godly power was annihilated completely, and thereafter, he was reduced to nothingness. Swan Queen was shocked to have witnessed the entire scene. Self-destruction? Using his death to prove his loyalty. I simply can't believe this warrior could be loyal to such a degree. Through the years, there were many such warriors who were incomparably upright. She herself had come across quite a few. There were also quite a few who chose death to prove themselves, but this was the very first time she had witnessed a scene of self-destruction unfolding right before her very eyes. What a loyal and upright warrior. Such a pity. Swan Queen shook her head with a sigh. Then her green eyes started to sparkle. Could it be that there are truly life forms from the outside world in my world of Jinn? Swan Queen vanished into thin air. Outside Python River Army were two soldiers talking with each other beside the lake. They seemed to be at ease. One had 3 faces and 8 arms, while the other had 1 face and 2 arms. A gleaming trace of green light suddenly slashed the sky. There was a trace of dim, golden light hidden in that green light. It sparkled like a rainbow in the sky. It's Commander Swan Queen. The two soldiers gave each other a look. Both appeared pleased as they transmitted their voices to talk. Chang Mu did it. Swan Queen came to Python River Army. Tell our ancestor now. In Purple Moon Holy Land in Universe Ocean. Purple Moon ancestor looked down and gave an order. Keep waiting. Once Luo Fong dies, tell me immediately. Okay, answered both universe masters. Purple Moon ancestor smiled and thought, the true gods of void space who can be the leaders of special armies, especially those true gods of void space who were capable of creating brand new special armies, are all exceptional. It's been a long time since Swan Queen created her special army, and all the precious inheritance in the army was provided to her. Among the true gods of void space, she is definitely one of the top-tier beings. Besides, she is also known for her proficiency in illusions in the army. With her power, even I can't rival her. True gods of void space like these, who are skilled at illusions, must have had their willpower reach the level of eternal true gods, maybe even consecrated. No matter how powerful a law master is, he'll be trapped in the illusions. Luo Fong indeed came from the outer world, so it's easy to determine his true identity. Once this is revealed, his soul will be annihilated, which means he'll be dead forever. Luo Fong, if you were less powerful, or if you were a true god, I wouldn't care. Unfortunately, you have the inheritance from Duandong River, which poses a great threat to me. You can only blame yourself for that. Purple Moon ancestor smiled. Those universe masters realized that the ancestor was joyful because he knew Luo Fong was about to die. In the world of Jin, the rainbow light was breathtaking. It was the symbol of Swan Queen. It's Commander Swan Queen. It's Commander Swan Queen. Outside the palaces of Law Master Team and True God Team, 2 True God Guards and 4 Law Master Guards were on patrol, and they immediately identified the light. After all, the commanders in the special armies had lived for a long time. In the world of Jin, those commanders weren't afraid of anyone but the generals, so their temperaments changed. Some were low-key like ordinary soldiers, some were reckless and aggressive, some were brutal, and some just loved attention. True gods who had been in the special armies long enough all knew the temperaments of their commanders, so they didn't dare to mess with them. After all, the commanders were far superior, they could just kill the true gods. A rainbow arrived. It was Commander Swan Queen. She had a mesmerizing face, and her tail was exquisite. The 2 True God Guards greeted her. Commander. Commander. Firepolishing Wu. Commander Swan Queen raised her head, glanced at the guards, and stopped caring. After all, she always abused the soldiers working for her. She would punish them according to military regulations if they crossed her. Why are you here, Swan Queen? A voice came out. Swan Queen heard the voice. Then she walked toward a palace close to her. She had notified the commander first as a means of showing respect. Even though she, as Swan Queen, was aloof and looked down upon true gods and law masters, she treated other true gods of void space belong to the special armies with respect unless they were foes. Swan Queen, said a being wearing fiery armor. All 6 of his eyes bore fiery patterns, and his eyes looked like scorpions. You've only been here twice since I became a commander. The first time was to congratulate me for becoming a commander, and the second time was when you punished my soldiers. Why are you here again? Did one of my soldiers cross you again, so you want to punish him? It's only a soldier. If you wish to punish him, you don't need to come here personally. That's not the case, said Swan Queen. Oh, said Firepolishing Wu. What kind of issue are you referring to? They both held extremely high status. Even true gods of void space masters of North True Ocean and Nine Smoke Marsh had to respect them. After all, this was the military, and they were commanders in special armies. No ordinary true gods of void space could reach that level. They roamed the world of Jin without fear, so almost nothing was a major issue to them. Listen to me. A soldier under my command, Chang Mu, came to me and, Swan Queen then described what had happened in a casual way, which got Firepolishing Wu thinking. A creature from the outside. Firepolishing Wu was shocked. Some creatures did enter here a long time ago, but I wasn't even born yet, and nobody has set foot in here from the outer world since then. Could it be? Are you sure? I found it ridiculous at first. Swan Queen sighed. However, the same soldier killed himself to prove he was serious. He was so worried about the world of Jinn that he committed suicide. Although I'm also not certain yet, I reckon we need to inspect it carefully. Firepolishing Wu nodded. It was indeed a serious issue. If a soldier had killed himself over it, how could they just let it go? I have the soldier Milky Way under me. Firepolishing Wu nodded and closed his eyes. I'll check where he is. Follow me. Firepolishing Wu went out, followed by Swan Queen. There were islands in Python River Army, and each island only allowed one owner. Firepolishing Wu was the commander of the Python River Army, so he could easily check on which soldier corresponded to each specific island. He quickly found the island Luo Fong had selected. On the island, Luo Fong sat on the rooftop of the stone house, and there was grape wine beside him. He appeared quite relaxed as he sipped at it. Although he looked relaxed, his mind was focused entirely on Moshe Body. Moshe Body was currently studying Shi Wu Wing. Back when Luo Fong was fighting that white-caped man during the task he took in Wui Tower, Luo Fong had created the blade technique at top-tier level 7, 9 days path. Luo Fong thought that he could fully comprehend the third level of Shi Wu Wing now. The first level is time and space in chaos, and the second level is golden country. How about the third level? Luo Fong thought. Wui God was different from Shi Wu Wing. Shi Wu Wing was for assistive use. It didn't make attacks directly. Besides, Wui God and Shi Wu Wing could be used simultaneously as long as he wore a pair of wings. When wearing Wui God, he only needed to wear a pair of wings. Wui God and Golden Claw God were exclusive with the armor. Anyone wearing Wui God and Golden Claw God couldn't wear True God armors. However, Shi Wu Wing and those machine-type valuables were mutually exclusive. Luo Fong wore Force armor and Shi Wu Wing at the same time. Just when Luo Fong was studying Shi Wu Wing, with the strength of a world bestowed by His Majesty the Godly King, he suddenly felt two powerful ripples coming from the sky. Luo Fong looked up. Two beings appeared in the sky. One of them was elegant and colorful, and the other was wicked and fiery. Luo Fong looked up and saw two pairs of eyes. One pair looked high and mighty with even trying, and the other pair was green and seducing, glinting with hostility. A power force arrived. The area was blocked, and the space around the island was surrounded by void. Luo Fong frowned and thought. One thought created a void space. Are these two true gods of void space? Two true gods of void space showed up in the army. They might be commanders. Are they from the ordinary army or the special army? All soldiers wore uniforms, so it was easy to tell which army they belonged to. However, commanders wielded a much higher status, so they wore casual garb. Luo Fong hadn't been qualified to meet commanders from the Python River Army before. The powerful forces irritated Luo Fong. Fortunately, he had strong willpower. Otherwise, he would have been kneeling already. What do these two commanders want? Luo Fong wondered. He was in a different status with different power now, so he had a different attitude. If a normal soldier from the special army saw two commanders, they would have revered, not even daring to breathe loudly. After all, the commanders could kill soldiers recklessly and at will. Two of them landed on the island and glanced at Luo Fong. He jumped off the stone house. Humph. Swan Queen said coldly. Firepolishing Wu, look at this soldier of yours. A law master doesn't show any respect to us, two commanders. Swan Queen was upset by Luo Fong's attitude. Normally, soldiers greeted them with utmost veneration. However, Luo Fong was indeed a superior being in the world of Jinn. Even the four eternal true God generals treated him as the center of the universe. Other than His Majesty the Godly King, he had the highest authority. With such high authority, Luo Fong wouldn't just greet these two commanders with respect. That soldier is impetuous. Firepolishing Wu felt upset as well, And he yelled, "Milky Way, we're commanders. Have you forgotten what you're supposed to do?" His voice rumbled in Luo Fong's ears. This video will end here.